So I was just talking to my son and I was telling him how I wouldn't be worried if I got the coronavirus. And I was like, yeah, it'd be kind of a fun experiment to actually get it on purpose, just to prove that it wouldn't affect me that much. I'm not going to do that. But in this video, I'm going to talk about a few things that I've done over the last few years. Number one, why I haven't gotten sick in almost 4 years. Nothing, not the flu, not a cold, a cough, anything. And I was somebody that used to get sick every single year. Not more than the average person, not less than the average person. I just started looking back and I'm like, holy smokes, this is crazy. And guess what? It's not through supplements. It's not through drugs. It's not through some crazy expensive program that you have to buy into. No, all natural stuff here. It's crazy. So I'll go through a few things. Number one is, I would say cold water immersion for me has been the biggest impactor. Even though I actually don't do it as much these days, the last 4 or 5 months, as much as I used to do it, because I've been doing some pretty crazy this yoga meditation thing that's aligning my body, my energies and everything like that. But that's a whole nother story. But basically we do ice baths, cold water baths. Most of the time I don't put ice in there at all, actually, because the water's cold enough, except in the summertime. We go out here in the lake. I'm at the Creative Cabin. This is an office. This is where we work, where we do our events and stuff. And so right now it is March 1st, 2020. So it's, it's dead middle of winter, and yesterday morning my son was actually here and we jumped in the lake because he had sore muscles. All right, got sore muscles, lacrosse game, so we don't do ice. We just go into the ice lake, baby, wintertime. Oh yeah. February 28th, I think. 29th maybe? 29th. We're going in. He wanted to jump in with me, but I was telling him, I said, dude, we got to bump up your immune system. We got to make sure you're eating the right foods. We need to make sure you're getting some cold water immersion, because if it does happen, then you don't have to worry about it, because something like this affects people with weaker immune systems. But what happens when you start to get to a point where you don't have to worry about ever getting sick again? I truly believe that I'll never get sick again unless I attract some infection, an infection where you just have to fight it. Totally different story. So here are the things. Just take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a doctor, no medical advice here. I've got a lot of friends in the health and wellness and biohacking and fitness world for sure. A lot of this stuff has come from just being around amazing people, but I'm telling you this from personal experience right now. That's it. Take it with a grain of salt if you want. Like I said, number one, cold water immersions. What I don't recommend doing is cold showers. If you have to use the cold shower to a little bit get used to the cold water, to turn it down towards the end, do that. But there's a reason why. I'm going to sit down here actually. So there's a reason why the Navy SEALs use water torture for their guys going through BUDS training. And what that is they lay down in about a foot of water in the cold Pacific Ocean in San Diego in the wintertime. The waves go out and then they come back in. So they don't get fully submerged. And so they're not able to get used to the water. So it just goes over them and then goes out. So they never get used to it. So it's like torture. And that's what a cold shower is like, because you're turning around the whole time and you can't ever actually get used to it. So it's worse than taking a cold bath. So don't do the whole cold shower thing. Just do a cold bath and don't do it very long. And maybe make it a little bit warmer and gradually get colder. Do it that way. Gradually get longer, gradually get colder. So that's my recommendation there. I'll have other videos on that. But I've been doing it for a long time. Oh yeah, baby. All right. Nothing like it, baby. I've been doing that for maybe 3 years. I can't even remember now, but basically go check out Wim Hof. He's got all kinds of awesome stuff on it. And honestly, I don't usually do the breathing. I've been doing the breathing exercises lately just for another purpose, but it's great. But just getting acclimated is amazing. So the next thing is nutrition. And number one is when you're eating stuff that is fast food or is just too much meat, so your body is digesting meat for 2 days straight, right? I'm not a vegan. I eat meat. I just don't eat very often because I know it takes like 2 days for it to go through your system, and the human body is not meant to digest meat on a regular basis. And so what happens is when you're eating not really meat in general, but more just toxic foods, fast food and just food that's not from the whole earth, is your liver and your body is going into overdrive trying to get rid of everything, not only to get rid of the toxins, but also just to digest. So if you get some kind of bug or something like that, you're not working on all 4 cylinders. They're all 8 cylinders. If you drive a Tesla, then you're missing a couple batteries here. That's what happens. Or most people, especially in the Western world, US, North America, Europe, we're talking people are living 60% or something like that. And so the food is a big one. The other thing is mindset. So wherever your thoughts go, energy flows. Okay, we know that everything is made up of energy. What happens is that if you believe you'll never get sick again, then that actually helps the whole process. So the problem is it's easier said than done. It's sort of like manifesting, right? The law of attraction. Yes, I want to picture my best life, but right now I'm in a rut and I can't pay the bills and I'm trying to survive. So it's easier said than done to manifest, and I realize that. And so what I like to do sometimes in this case is think of best case scenario in the future. That helps, but also if you can get some momentum. So for me, if I'm doing some cold water baths, you don't have to do it every single day either. You do it 3 times a week, you're going to acclimate. Your body will acclimate by doing it 3 times a week. You don't have to go every single day. And watch how much energy you have, watch how much better you sleep. It's unreal. Once you do something like this and you start to feel like your immune system is building up, you have more energy, maybe you caught a cold, you started to feel it, but then all of a sudden it was like gone 12 hours later. That's what happened to me when I'd start to catch a cold or something like that, and then it would be gone like by the time I went to bed, and then the next day it would be perfect. And then like in the last 2.5 years, nothing, not even started. It's unreal. But if I do kind of feel something maybe, or I would definitely try to do the cold. But now I feel like I'm at a whole nother level and still just scratching the surface of where I'll be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, as I can continue to align my physical body and my energies and do these things and eat the right thing. So basically, when you get to momentum and you start to feel a little bit better, you start to think that you're not going to get sick anymore, and then it does start to manifest. So the mindset is huge, but a little hack is do an exercise that makes you believe, even if you have to trick your mind a little bit, believe that you're not going to get sick again. And if you do get sick, look back and you're like, you know what, I recovered faster than before. So another one is back on the food stuff. I'm not going to give a bunch of suggestions on food. What I'm going to say is eat whole foods from the earth. That's it. Eat whole foods, organic, when you can. Eat twice a day if you're an adult. If you're 18 or younger, throw it out the window, or in college or playing sports. But if you're an adult, we should not eat more than twice a day. So maybe you eat at 11 o'clock and then you eat again at 7, or maybe you eat at 10 and then you eat at 6, or maybe you eat at 12 and then you eat again at 7 or something like that. Try to stay between 7 or 8 hours in between meals if you can. What happens is cancer cells grow. They need stuff. They need sugar. They need stuff to be able to, that's how they grow. So like I said, no medical advice here. This is from personal experience, but also from learning through a lot of my amazing friends and clients over the years. And this is why what they're doing with people who have cancer now is they're putting them on intermittent fasting diets. So I've been doing intermittent fasting for about 4 years now, 4.5 years. I don't do it every day, and now it's just part of my life. I don't look at the clock and stuff like that, but ideally I try to eat, I normally eat twice a day. Sometimes I'll eat a light snack or something like that in the middle of that. It's not the end of the world. I eat a little earlier than I used to now because I also realize that you're not going to sleep well if you have food in your stomach. So in a perfect world, you don't go to bed until about 3 hours after you eat your last meal. And if you have something like an Oura Ring, which is what this is here, it's like a Fitbit on steroids or an Apple Watch on steroids, and it's got these little, like, you can see the sensors in there. It's cool. So you can kind of see the sensors there. It's OURA ring.com. It's a $300 ring, but you get an app that it shows you like your heart rate all throughout the night. Every little minute of your sleep cycle. It's crazy. Your heart rate, the lowest heart rate, and basically if you ate too late or if you had alcohol or something like that, then your heart rate will probably not slow down until later on in the night, and that shows that you probably didn't get enough rest. What it means is your body is working overtime trying to digest your food or trying to get rid of those toxins from like the alcohol or drugs maybe. And so it's nice to be able to be aware of this stuff. The other thing is it shows us heart rate variability, which is basically a measurement of stress. For me, what I've been doing over the last 7 months or so, I'm not going to go into details on that in this video, but I've been doing this yoga and meditation practice that took me 4 days at this event to learn. It's not something I can just teach over like this, but I'll talk about it in another video. But that has actually taken all of my heart rate is down. on average overnight. My heart rate variability is way down, so I know my blood pressure is way down, and so that's a whole another level. But that's like, I'm not saying you have to do that to never get sick again. But the whole point of that is that if your body is digesting all the time, then it creates cancer cells. And guess what else it does? It takes away the ability to fight off the flu or a cold or like the coronavirus, for example. This is why I'm not worried about it one bit. So like when my son gets sick, he got sick a few times this year. Like I'm like, dude, we need to work on you need to be doing more like cold water baths. He wasn't doing them, you know, and your nutrition. I don't say like what's going around at school, and I don't blame it on the flu bugs and everything like that. I blame it on the decisions that he makes. He can decide if he never wants to get sick again. It's his choice. I know it's more challenging when you're in a school environment you've got everywhere, which is why they need to be doing this stuff even more, right? So I guess the reason I want to make this video, and I've made another video about this in the past, it's not even published on my channel right now or anywhere, but it will be. But basically, that if you're worried about this stuff happening right now, like start now, start doing this stuff. Go look up Wim Hof and just, you don't even have to actually, just fill it up with cold water, get in there for 15 seconds the first time, and then get out. But when you start to go in the cold stuff a little bit longer, one thing you will realize is that once you're in, it's really cold, after about 40 seconds or so, your body will start to get numb a little bit, which is good. Then you'll be able to, it actually won't sting as bad. So you can go like a minute and a half or 2 minutes, but that first 30 to 40 seconds is the worst by far. So when you get out, the feeling that you have when you get out of after a cold, it is hard to describe. It feels so good. And so it's worth it. You'll sleep better, more energy. So let's quick recap. Cold immersion, number 1, mindset, realizing you're never going to get sick again, and you won't. Okay. Number 3 is your food, and also your food schedule, your eating schedule. Eat less often. Okay. Eat whole foods. And then also don't eat right before you go to bed. So that brings us to sleep. Sleep is super, super important. But once you realize that it's not about getting 8 hours every night, it's about rest. It's about being rested. So I actually need less sleep than I have ever before in my life, especially the last 6 months since I've been doing this yoga meditation thing that I'm not going to get into in this video. I need about 6 hours and a half is like 8 hours was a year ago for me. But I'm also more aware that I have better sleep. I drink like a half a cup of coffee now per day. It's unbelievable. No stimulants, nothing. I was experimenting with all kinds of stimulants over the last few years, everything. And it was like all the brain stuff and everything like that. And once you get your energies that are like most people can't even tap into, it's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. So cold water immersion, ice baths, nutrition, whole foods, mindset, and really believing in that, and rest and sleep. Okay, it's not just 8 hours, like I said, it's rest. So when I do my meditation and yoga, I do it in the afternoon a lot, it's like a power nap. I used to take power naps every single day. I never do anymore because I'm getting that rest in another way, and I'm aligning my physical body in a certain way where I'm tapping into more energies, and I'm giving myself more energy, and I'm requiring less sleep. So I'm getting quality sleep. And if you don't do any of that stuff, make sure you get 7.5 to 8 hours every night, because you've ever noticed that if you, like back in your younger days, or if you're somebody younger, you party for a couple days or something like that, and all of a sudden the next day you get sick, or I would get these like cold sores on my lip in high school all the time. And then it was either if I got sunburnt, got cut, or if I had a couple really low sleep nights in a row and I was hard on myself. So that is, now all these other things that I just talked about though, you're going to be giving yourself this natural rest, and you're not going to be as hard on your body and your mind throughout the day to begin with. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Anyways, I can go on and on about this stuff. This is what we talk about at our events and intensives and stuff like that. But it's the stuff I'm super passionate about, and we'll be talking about a lot more over the next year. So anyways, if you feel like that was helpful and somebody that might be, make sure you tag a friend, comment, like it, whatever, save it, give it to somebody that you may think this might help, and comment with your questions or advice, feedback, like stuff that you've used that has helped you in the past. This is stuff I love. It's super passionate about all this stuff. So anyways, have a great day. Talk to you later.